here, the director and the writer, Carol.
Oh yeah, good.
We're broadcasting live here to the world.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, guys, let's do it. We're broadcasting live.
Are we doing a Q&A now?
Let's do this Q&A. We're about to head to the Q&A. This is Johnny Whitworth leading the way. Doing a Q&A. Allan Moyle, these guys, look at them taking their selfies right there. Oh, Carol Heikkinen.
Yeah, a little break. Great.
All right, so this is BuzzFeed headquarters, Los Angeles, California. It's actually a great setup here. This whole room. This is all office space here. This is editing days here. This is Sheridan, by the way, here.
Hi.
Sheridan Rock. This is where all the crazy cat videos that you've seen in the past couple of years were produced. And probably a few others here. Oh, we're doing something right now. This is live. Well, you're saying something you shouldn't be saying live to the world.
Already.
Mr. Allan Moyle?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to complain. Wow. You know, what you did at the other Q&A was legendary.
Ah, thanks. Yeah, I saved it since you didn't have a microphone.
Didn't have a microphone. Right? That was perfect.
He did not just say we were all too high to talk. That was that's what the tone.
Yeah.
He said we were too excited.
Yeah. That was legendary. People would say that was the best Q&A that ever saw.
Really? The best Q&A they ever saw.
And many people said that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, they were probably high too. They were probably high too, but I mean, it's dead. It's dead.
Oh, all right. Do you have a significant other here?
You know what? My wife just, and I'll say this live.
Yeah.
My wife just released her 4th book, and she's on a book tour in Brazil right now. Hi, baby. How you doing?
Excellent.
You met Allan Moyle briefly.
And I want to catch up. I want to have a dinner.
Come to the
just
Hollywood
the 4 of
Travel.
us. Yeah, and catch up.
All right.
Someday. Yeah.
So we're getting ready to do this Q&A here at BuzzFeed.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Are you going to take over this?
No, I'm not taking over this. You're taking over this one.
We're here at BuzzFeed. We are very excited to have you here this evening because, believe it or not, it has been 20
She's a little
years.
sorry. Yeah. And you know what? I don't mind if I say this. She's great.
It has been 20 years since the very first
Carol Heikkinen.
Manning Day.
Heikkinen.
It has been
Carol Heikkinen, the writer of Empire Records, is here tonight. That's her right there. Yeah. Carol Heikkinen talking to
She actually worked in a record store
at Howard. You know what? You know who I know? I don't know if people out there know. I know Berko, the original Berko. And his name is Berko. His name's Berko Pierce. He's actually my friend on Facebook. Well, I don't know if she knows that we know each other, but she must know.
And now the people behind the cult classic are here with us tonight. So,
I know Berko Pierce. Yeah, you must know him because obviously you, yeah. So say hi to Berko. He's my Facebook friend. He's gonna get, Johnny Whitworth, ladies and gentlemen.
he is the man behind the Sugar High, Coyote Shiver.
Oh, that's me. That's me. Thanks. Thank you.
The writer of this film, her words make it possible. Karen Heikkinen.
Oh, sounds good. All right.
The director of Empire Records, Allan Moyle.
Woo! Woo! Allan!
Sinead O'Rebellion herself, Robin Tunney. And last but not least, it doesn't matter if you spell it with a K or with a C, it's Mark Ethan Embry.
Woo! Oh, look.
What is that?
We're broadcasting live to the world right now.
What is it?
Podcasting TV.
So it's also that he baked those from home, so enjoy that front row. Enjoy that.
There's people saying hi.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right. While Ethan is passing out some baked goods, Carol, I'm going to start with you. This movie, in many ways, was based on your life. Could you talk a little bit about where the idea for Empire Records came from?
Yeah. When I was in high school, I lived in Phoenix. I worked at Tower Records there. And then there was one summer in college where I worked at the Tower Video in West Hollywood, across from the record store. I was like that.
I mean, what was it about that environment where you were like, this is a movie, and...
That was like the best job I ever had. You know, it's like your minimum wage job is the best job you ever had, and it's like your little family, you know. And that wasn't something that's pretty commonplace now, but 20 years ago it wasn't something that there were a lot of movies and television shows about. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, for the actors, when you get this script, John, what do you remember? I mean, are the things that Carol's talking about, the friendship, are those the things that speak to you when you read the script for the first time?
Originally, AJ had a dog.
And that was really what did it for you. You were like, there's a dog, I'm in. Okay.
And I believe the opening had a Beatles song for the opening. Woke up, got out of bed, draft going across my head.
Yeah, one draft.
And he had a dog. One of the first draft.
Those are two great reasons. I didn't know that.
Needless to say, there was some changes. But I mean, I think the spirit of the film probably remains intact. I mean, what we see today is very much a film about friendship and people who sort of find a commonality. I mean, what is it about that appeals to you as an actor?
That's a good question. We had the opportunity to hang out and we all become friends. We had, which doesn't happen anymore. We had like a month of rehearsals and we got to know each other and kind of hang out. And
But yeah, by the way, we're
broadcasting live to the world right now. Podcasting TV. Go ahead, Johnny.
That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, when he talks about that month rehearsal process, how important was that to you as the director to get that sense of friendship between these actors who were strangers coming in?
I was just trying to remember if it was really a month. Or
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, man, that's extraordinary. I don't know how. I've never had it since, certainly. It's usually a week, and then because somebody's not available, you know how it is.
They put us all up on the beach, and they rented us all a house in the same neighborhood. And for a month, it was just running over to Alan's house for dinner, and we all had dogs.
And LSD.
Out there. We all had our dogs out there. Yes, there was a lot of that, Alan.
Yeah, and Alan had started like camaraderie of the actors as the casting process was happening. I read for Warren at a table reading over at what was Warren Brothers down here, yeah. And then he kept having people over reading different roles and hanging out and getting drunk and becoming friends. So we all had that already. And instilled in us, and it was something that was pretty cool, and that was all he was doing.
Allan Moyle loves to make a movie that ends in a big party, and he loves the party. And I think that during the whole process, none of us understood that the bonding and like the stuff that we were doing was making the movie. It was work, and it was like bonding us, and it came on screen. And I think that we were all really spoiled because like the rest of your career, you don't get to do that now. And we were doing Pilates in the morning. Nobody'd even heard of that.
They hate it.
Hungover.
Oh my God!
Pilates.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I totally forgot!
And you're kind of looking at each other, we're like, this is acting? Like, what are we doing? And like,
They got us these
back
great
and-
condos, each a great condo on the beach there in North Carolina. It was wonderful. I had totally forgotten about the Pilates.
Robin, what was it like? I mean, you guys were all young actors. This was for many of you sort of like the first big project you had worked on, to come into a situation where you're now all living in a house together for a month, getting ready to make this movie. Was it pure anarchy, or was there sort of like a sense of, oh, we're here for a job?
I think Alan was always super supportive of like, character stuff and what you wanted to do, and you felt really seen, and you never like, you sort of like, how do you want to say this, or, what's your path? It didn't feel like anarchy to us, but I think it did to the adults. And Amphilopolia was just tortured. He was like the one adult, and I remember Ethan crashing his golf cart into his rental car.
No, it was his brand new Bronco. He had just bought it.
Yes, that was no rental.
Yeah, no, it was his.
And they would never let Ethan drive the golf cart at the studio, so he decided to buy his own.
Yep.
And loped it out and drove it down, and then right into Amphilopolia's car.
Well, Brendan Sexton, Warren, he was actually driving, but it was my fault to let him.
You took the
I took the
fall.
hit. I took the fall. Yeah.
Well, you know, when you're talking about these character motivations, Robin, I think there's a lot obviously going on with Deb. The head shaving really sets sort of a tone for her at the start of the film. Was that something you knew from the beginning you were
It
going to...
wasn't in the script.
The head shaving was not in the first script.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
That was your idea, wasn't it?
your idea during rehearsal. Really?
Yeah, I don't know if this is true, but like Alan came to me and he's like, look, I think the studio wants to fire you because they think you're kind of too cute to be depressed. He's like, so I'm thinking hair lips. Like, what do you want? And I was like, well, I could shave my head. And then I shaved my head, which made everybody very nervous because it was like live on. So if the film got damaged or anything went wrong, like we could not do that over again. And he just loved pushing the boundaries. And that's why the film feels authentic.
Well, I didn't.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, he loves doing that.
Alan's so carefree and supportive. I've grown up now, though. And, wow, I don't remember some of these things. But I just want to say it's so great to see the creator of the script here. Because it all starts there. Woo! Right?
He's a little shy.
Let me ask you a question. You know, obviously we've heard in small ways that the script sort of changed over time, things were added. Though the spirit, I feel like, of the script probably remains what it is. I mean, what excited you about telling that story?
Well, I started thinking of it, I wanted to do something about, having worked in a record store, and I started thinking about that movie Car Wash, where they were making minimum wage and just having fun all day. And so I was sort of, and I told my agents, like, what are you working on? And I said, it's Car Wash in a record store. And I wrote it on spec, and we sold it right away. And, yes, and it was like and the characters really stayed, I mean, they were developed further, but, I mean, they were who they were from pretty much the first draft.
It's also a movie about globalization before anybody was talking about it. Like, that wasn't like a word that was in the vernacular then, and it's about these people not wanting to be homogenized by corporation, and that basically they were people that would never be hired by a corporation, and yeah, I don't think people were saying that then. It wasn't.
If we're talking about people who might have a hard time getting a job, I would love to turn to Mark and Ethan Embry, because there are very few reasons why he would have a 9-to-5. No. That had to be a very fun character, Ethan. I mean, the amount of at least insane dancing that you do throughout the film would make me feel like that.
Dancing.
Yeah.
I love the dancing. You're so spot on. My favorite line. The party. Yeah. What's your favorite Ethan line in the whole movie? Yeah. You really had a hard time with that one.
But again, like going back to what Robin was talking about with Alan, like that character, no other director would have let me go that ape shit, you know?
And he also came in once and he was like, man, Guar's coming to town, and I think Mark should have like a fantasy where he's playing with Guar, and they did it.
That's literally how that scene where he gets eaten on stage came to be.
And then Alan let us take a camera to the Guar concert, and I drank Jägermeister with the bass player from Guar backstage.
I had never heard of Guar, so I'm getting credit for something that came from his fertile imagination.
Yeah, I had never heard of him either, obviously.
But it turned out and we ended up in the movie,
Yeah,
right?
they were passing through Carolina when we were shooting it.
And how old were you, Ethan, when you were drinking this Jaeger with Guar?
16.
That's
I
not so
turned
bad. That's not
16
so bad.
on the movie.
Okay.
Can I say one thing about Mark while responding? I think every draft that I wrote of the script had the first line and the last line were Mark, and it was the same line, which is, I'm going to start an act. And so I always thought he was sort of representing every record store employee. He's the one who has to answer the phone with the right greeting. I mean, he ended up with a lot of the lines that are just like little moments from when I actually went through.
I mean, if we're talking about a band, Cody, I have to turn to you because you had sort of one of the coolest moments in the entire movie. I mean, if Alan likes to end a movie with a party, you are the genesis of that party, performing on the roof of Empire Records. Talk a little bit about just the song Sugar High. I mean, that's a song that I feel like fans of movies like know every single word to, and I'm sure if we started playing it, this entire crowd could just sing the song. Where did this song come from?
I honestly, I don't remember.
What was the R-rated version of Sugar High?
There was a couple different versions floating around. One had to do with oral sex, one had to do with drugs, and one had to do with suicide. And I think because of the deaf character, or probably because it's lyrical content, and the producers. There's a certain version that was chosen for the film.
But I mean, did you know when you were performing that song that it would become so popular with the fans? Did you have a sense that that was a very catchy song?
Yes, but I don't think any of us thought that it would be, the film as a whole would be this popular 20 years later and everything like that. It's really taken on a life of its own. And I will say this for Renee, who's not here. That little added bit of her singing was just for the film. That's not in the recorded version or anything like that, or at least that's released so far. And that has taken on a life of its own. People sing along with that. People know that as if it's part of the song. That I wasn't ready for. I thought that was just sort of like, oh, we need to put her in for the film. She has to sing something for her character. And over time, people know it as part of the song.
Carol, I mean, when you're writing the script, for scenes like that, is it sort of like, we'll find a song for this point and we'll deal with that later?
Yes. And it didn't end on the roof of the record store, but it ended with them going to another location where Berko's band was playing. So there was the guy who was already in a band, and there was the kid who wanted to be in a band, and maybe he probably would never be in a band again.
If we're talking about songs, what about Say No More, Moan More? Did you write that?
That was my title, but no, I did not write the song. But that was my title. And I had them saying it. And Alan, I don't know why you took all this out, but all day long, if they could, they would say no more, no more. They were just saying it because they were like making fun of Rex all day long.
That's amazing. I feel like that in itself, I mean, if we're talking about, the idea of these moments that are getting added, I feel like it all comes back to casting, Alan. And I mean, you did an amazing job, I think, finding actors for these parts who have all gone on to have great groups. I mean, do you remember the casting process? Was it difficult to find these group of young actors to work at Empire Records?
Well, I don't remember, of course, but I remember being very happy when we found each and every one of them. I remember the first time I walked in the casting office.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I just got done smoking a joint in the stairwell. Refresh my memory.
And you were just so nice. It was at the studio off of Formosa, on Santa Monica and Formosa. There was the old Warner, yeah. And what's the brilliant actor, painter guy? He kind of he's a friend of Toby, and anyway, he was a brilliant actor that went a little. And we just got stoned together, and I went in and met Alan, and he's just a sweetheart. He always has been. He always will be.
Yeah, it was.
Do you want to talk about the more famous actors that you could have hired instead of us?
Yeah.
At the fun game.
Yeah.
Who came in and you're like, God damn it, why didn't I get that?
The studio wanted all famous people and pretty people, so that's weird that they didn't. So I said to you weren't. It was a miracle that any of us got hired. And they told me to get Chemo's teeth fixed and things like that. That was so weird.
And mine.
And you really?
Yeah, remember they wanted my fangs. They wanted my fangs fixed. And we and me conspired to, I don't know if we're supposed to say this, but you and I conspired to trick them into thinking, oh yeah, we're getting his teeth fixed. But then
we ran out of time or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Carol, The last scene on the rooftop, what was the original ending?
It was pretty much the same. It had a lot to do with Corey and AJ and how they had just sort of had a first kiss in the parking lot. And throughout, Berko had been trying to get his shift off because he had a gig. And so they go to his gig.
So what do you think of the...
It's not that different.
It's not that different?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good.
It's the same general idea, I think. But
There was another ending we shot, though, where
shot another ending.
Rex Manning comes back and joins me after Sugar High, and we do a rock and roll version of Say No More, Mon Amour.
Yeah.
And then the police come, drag us away, and I don't know, the party
What happened to
continues.
that scene?
It's on the DVD.
Is
it really?
Extended version, yeah.
Oh, really?
And that's why Max and I aren't dancing on the end, because we're in jail.
Really?
Or that was my excuse to get out of dancing. I remember going, no, I'm not there dancing, I'm in jail.
Like, Alan's gonna make me dance.
Oh,
Any scene where there's dancing, I was thinking of an excuse when my character was out back smoking, or my character just, we were in jail, so we couldn't be dancing.
Anthony said, I will never dance in the rooftop polka, right? And then he vowed that he wouldn't participate. I said, just sit there. And then one of you freaks got him dancing. Do you remember who it was? Somebody went over.
Don't look at me, say freak.
No, I think during the scene we got up and pulled him up from all the sitting down. It was you and I think.
Yeah. And we're filming, and he couldn't be a bitch about it.
Yeah,
Misery loves company. We're like, look, if we're up here doing this, you're doing it too.
And in retrospect, I'll admit when I was wrong. You were right, Alan. The dancing scenes really make the movie. A lot of people.
All the Pilates paid off.
The music, obviously music is a huge part of the world that this movie takes place in and the film, and it has some amazing music in it. I mean, the soundtrack, I think, is still pretty incredible, and it makes me kind of laugh when I think about it because the movie has actually endured longer than any physical record store in pretty much America has. I mean, I'm curious. I mean, I know that a lot of you are old like me in the audience, but just raise your hand. How many of you have ever bought a physical album in a record store that sold nothing but albums? Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Amoeba, for being here this evening. I mean, but, Robin, you were talking about this a little bit before, like the message of the film and that globalization. I mean, is it strange that the movie has almost surpassed the record store as an entity?
Yeah, it's really weird, but I actually don't think that, I think the film is about, people who don't feel like they fit in. And it's about, family in a way. So I think that that's sort of the universal sort of, themes behind it and why people attach themselves to it. I have an anecdotal story. We were shooting in North Carolina and there was nothing going on there. And Ethan and Chemo went to Kmart to have a little bit of an adventure.
I knew this had something to do with me, the way she started telling the story. I was like, oh.
And they bought cat guns, and they were just monkeying around the parking lot.
They were blue. It was prefaced by saying it wasn't like a scary, it was blue and hot pink. Like you all have seen the little revolver that's like super
So
bright.
he and Chemo got hauled off to the pokey, and it was on the evening news.
I got
And
charged with 5 counts of assault.
They intercut footage of Ethan from movies he's done. They're like, child actor goes crazy in mall parking lot. And it was like sweet, like young Ethan, and then with people in the parking lot going, I had to run for cover. I was scared. And like children crying, and they made it into this news story that he like lost his mind when he was playing with a cap gun in the parking lot. And I was like, you have to put that on your demo reel when you go home.
There's a beta cam of it out there somewhere. Oh, YouTube. I bet it's on YouTube.
I wonder if it is on
It's
YouTube.
gotta be. I'm gonna.
If it's not, somebody out there put it on.
Oh wait, you know what? Don't Google search Ethan got arrested. That's a bad idea.
Well, actually, you were Randall then, so it would be...
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Well, maybe now we know how to do that too.
Jared, speaking to the life of the film, I mean, the music and everything is outstanding, but it's because everybody here seems to relate to somebody or something in the film, and it's actually lasted well beyond its years. I mean, is it 20 years today? And it's
next
because
month.
of all them and everyone who actually jams the van.
I mean, Johnny, for you, I mean, you sort of had like the romantic thrust of the film between you and Liv. I mean, when you've talked to people over the years about the movie, like what kind of connections have you had with Empire Records fans as a result of it?
Okay.
They stalk him.
He's very popular with the ladies. I've had some wonderful experiences. Everyone is fans. There are people who appreciate the movie. They appreciate the character. I've had the opportunity to take some pictures with some and to hang out. Everyone's been pretty courteous and nice and respectful. We had a wild time seeing the films. We didn't actually have a premiere. We had for the first time that Alan was there at the cemetery a couple of years ago.
Yeah, last year they showed it at the Cinespia, and it was so fun.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
And when everyone was dancing,
You had just broke your leg or something, I think.
And it was like fighting crime on the Memphis.
Yeah.
and everyone was dancing at the end of the film, we're standing up to do a Q&A after the thing and waiting to come in, so we're standing in front of the audience and watching everyone, partly because they're inebriated, but standing up dancing. And it was such a movement.
Thousands of them dancing in the graveyard.
Watching Alan watch that for the first time was so heartwarming. I was standing behind you. I couldn't get a real good shot.
yeah.
That was a great moment. Yeah.
It was
because
the opening
dark.
we never had, and I don't
Right.
remember why. Carol, do you remember why we didn't open the movie?
No. No, they changed the title, and they didn't put it out. That's all. And I found these things out later. So you could call me and tell me that you're changing the title of the movie. It was just called Empire.
Yeah, in a way that's good because look at us now. I really don't understand how this
Empire's
happened,
better.
and we're sitting here. It's really surreal.
Have they ever done the remake of the movie as a porno? You know how there's Edward King.
What would the title?
What would the
for
title
Empire
be? Yeah,
Records
what would the title be?
Go, Carol.
This is Ethan's thing.
Yeah, it's your idea, man.
Empire Record.
Oh!
Go forth and create, audience. Carol, but we're going to go back to the idea of sort of the endurance of the film. I mean, as the person who sort of created this world and these people, why do you think the movie has, for 20 years, sort of tapped into a vein in this way? We'll come back to this. Go ahead, Rob.
Backdoor Empire? I mean, if this doesn't stop anybody in the audience having
Oh, that's a good one. Umpire record?
Umpire record.
Umpire record, yes. Umpire. Sorry, I was
Imagine the orgy
Sorry,
scene
Carol.
in that. Why have they not done the aprons and begging for it?
So, Carol,
I've been thinking about this since you first asked me this question, Jerry, and I don't know the answer. I don't know.
But I mean, did you ever feel, when you write a script, I mean, you've written, when you write a script, do you know, or is it just sort of something you're like, well, I like this, but I don't know if anyone else is gonna?
Yeah, it's pretty much like
Like
that.
a weird solitary experience.
Yeah.
So what has it been like to see it exist like this? When they talk about having these screenings
This
20
is
years
brand
later.
new. I mean, Alan and I had a meeting at 10 years with the studio, and that sort of ended up fizzling out, where he did the special edition of this thing, but we were going to have a screening, and it all just fizzled out, didn't happen. So this is all very, very new.
How does this feel then?
Nice.
You can do this more.
I think it's because every one of the characters in the film are pretty straightforward and honest, and it gives the opportunity to an audience member to actually relate to an aspect of somebody. There's someone for everyone in the film, and depending on what age you saw it, there's something that you could identify with in an easy way. And I think that's obviously due to her. Carol made that happen, but it was